Hi, Danny Morrison here for the Danny Morrison Expert Comments alongside Rario.com and Qualifier 2 in Sharjah. You know it. Whoever wins this straight into the final against CSK. So a lot on the line, of course. KKR versus the DCs. Toss went the way of KKR, said, look, we're going to bowl first. And they restricted the DCs to that tricky score in a way, that 135 for 5 in 20 overs. All the coaches have said it's very difficult to get started and get going. And so when I look at this and I break it down and I think about the opening stanza, that to me was part of the difference. Shikhar Dhawan couldn't get off to the flyer he wanted to. He ended up with 36 from 39, a boundary and a couple of sixes. But Shreyas Iyer, he was a standout. He had to hang in there and become the glue because Prithvi Shaw got to 18 and couldn't kick on. And I think that, and for me, was part of the difference, was that the fast-scoring guys couldn't really elevate and make it count when it needed to. As I say, Shreyas Iyer not out at the end there. 30 in there was the glue, and you had a little bit of Shimron Hetmeyer, again the West Indian star. He got 17, got run out from 10, but he also hit a couple of sixes to give it a little bit of substance to allow the DCs to get up over the 130 mark, get to 135. I look at the bowling, and they chose to bowl first, and they really were a standout. The whole group, Shakib, Sunil Narayan, Chakravarti, Shaban Mavi and Lockie Ferguson all chipped in when they needed to. It was so crucial for KKR to restrict the DCs to what they could. And for me, the standouts, that 1 for 26 from 4 was Lockie Ferguson with 11 dots, and Chakravarti with all his guile and his trickery. Certainly on that pitch was always going to be challenging, with that 2 for 26 himself with 7 dots in those 4 overs was simply outstanding. In the reply, what for me was the difference, and I've mentioned at the top here just now, was the opening stanza. And when you get an opening partnership that can put on almost 100, they put on 96, the two guns, and you look at Shubman Gill and Venkatesh Iyer. Venkatesh might be slightly older in years, but in terms of experience, a lot less as well. And Shubman Gill, he hasn't been around for ages, has he? But Shubman with 46 from 46, he again was a bit of a glue, like Shikhar Dhawan was trying to be for the DCs. So with Gill doing that, and then Venkatesh Iyer with 55, in fact, the only half century of the contest in Qualifier 2, well, he had to be player of the match, didn't he? He was certainly up there, and he ended up winning it. But when I look at it, those guys putting on 96, 40 odd for Shubman, and that 55 for Venkatesh Iyer, hearts in the mouths because it went down to the wire. That's the fascinating thing about Never Say Die Delhi. And the DCs, well, they almost pulled it off. It came down and it got very, very tight. When you look at old Kartik, Dinesh Kartik got naught, Owen Morgan got naught, Shaquem Hassan, he got naught, and so did Sunil Narayan, who'd actually was player of the match the previous outing, and did it with his cameo, didn't he? Couldn't do it. So those 4 ducks in a row made it a fascinating contest, hugely, and that's why we love this game of T20. Got there in the end, as I say, Tripathi, he made sure of it and had one of the maximums, you beauty, to do it, and 19.5 overs it took in the end to get up and get 136 for 7 for KKR to get into the final with CSK. Some of that bowling, though, when you think about the 2 South African stars, Nokia and Rabada, 2 for 31 and 22 for Avish Khan. Those guys, the Pacers, did such a great job for Delhi over the whole season. Could have been different. It came down to the wire against them. They lost off the last ball against RCB. They could have nailed it against CSK there. And then this one, Qualifier 2, went right down and only had a ball to spare. Some big things for Delhi. And I know Ricky Ponting wants to keep the nucleus of that Delhi family together. Can he do it with the next huge auction? Let's wait and see. But hey, love it to pieces. Cometh the final is very, very shortly. If you like this, remember to like it. And if you love it, subscribe. Get amongst it right here on Rario.